Welcome to Greenville Grit, Greenville residents in touch on 103.7 WTIB. This is the local show that keeps you connected and in touch with the issues that are happening and affect your community. Greenville Grit is sponsored by Ribeyes and Greenville Toyota. Now, here's your host for Greenville Grit, Terry Williams.
Hello and welcome to Greenville Grit. I'm Terry Williams here today with my co-host, PJ Conley. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you as well.
Yeah, we have some great guests with us today. We have Mark Jones and Scott Mullis here. Thank you all for joining us. They are coming on today with Crime Stoppers and to tell us all about what Crime Stoppers does, their purpose, upcoming events, and we got a big golf tournament coming up. So we're going to discuss all of that today and get you all some information out to the public that we think is very necessary and show you the importance of Crime Stoppers organization. Before we get started, though, we want to thank our sponsors who've been with us for so long. We do appreciate them so much. Greenville Toyota, if you're looking for a new or a used vehicle, be sure to give them a call, go by, visit their website. They are family owned and operated for over 25 years. You can visit them at greenvilletoyota.com over on Memorial Drive, or you can give them a call at 252-321-3000. We also want to thank Ribeyes Steakhouse. They've been with us since the beginning. Food is so good. Not so long ago, my husband and his dad enjoyed the pork chops. So if you're not into steak, they still have wonderful things to offer, great salad bar. They have a room you can get for any types of meetings or parties. They also have a location in Williamston, so be sure to stop there and visit them and tell them that you heard about them on the Greenville Grit. The other sponsor that we've had is Overton Residential Properties, overtonresidential.com, or you can call us at 252-375-8620. If you're looking to list a home for sale or you want to buy a new home, you can contact me, Terry Williams, Trey Williams, or Michelle Connors, and we can help you with all of your housing needs. We're going to take a quick break and come right back and get started talking about Crime Stoppers. Welcome back to Greenville Grit. We're going to get right into the discussion because I think we have more information to cover that's really important that the public knows. But we have Scott Mullis with us, and we have Mark Jones. And I'm just going to sort of turn it over to you all to introduce yourselves if you want to tell a little bit about yourselves, and then you can tell us what Crime Stoppers is about, what the purpose is, and then we'll just go into discussion.
Well, I guess I'll start off. I'm Mark Jones, and I'm professor of criminal justice at ECU, and I'm currently serving as chair of Pitt Greenville Crime Stoppers. I've been in that capacity. This is my second year in a row now. And Scott will introduce himself a little further, I'm sure, but Scott is our vice chair, and Scott is associated with Greenville Utilities. What Crime Stoppers does is our overall objective is to help keep our communities safe. And we do that by trying to assist law enforcement with arresting accused lawbreakers. And I have a few stats that our coordinator is Kip Gaskins with the Pitt County Sheriff's Office, Lieutenant Gaskins, and Terry has this sheet, and so does Scott, I believe, on some of the activities we've been involved with the past, say, 3 or 4 years. Excuse me. I know these are just figures, but behind each of these figures there is a story involved. But for example, we've assisted in the arrest or clearance of, say, 11 robbery cases, and I think 6 homicide cases, a lot of drug cases in schools, in fact, help keep drugs out of school, larceny, various shootings, weapons violations, crimes of various sorts. And but I should back up a second and tell about what Crime Stoppers does, I suppose. What we do is we try to we assist law enforcement by helping them pay for tips, pay for information.
That's right.
And so the money we raise goes to law enforcement, and if a law enforcement officer receives a tip that our coordinator deems worthy of a payout, that money is paid out to that tipster. Right. Sometimes that's the best way to clear a case, to have an arrest, and to get sometimes dangerous people off the streets or at least out of schools for a while. Some of the more high-profile cases we've been involved with that we've helped solve was the triple murder in Farmville.
That's right.
That occurred several years ago, for which I believe one one of the people involved in that ultimately got a death sentence, I believe. The murder of a Greenville minister in his home also was cleared with a Crime Stoppers tip. So some of the cases are a little bit less. Most of the cases are less high profile than that, less serious. But we've been involved in some very serious cases and helped police officers solve some of those cases. But in order for law enforcement to do that, they need funds, and that's why we need funds. And according to some of the information that KIP has provided us, they estimate they've recovered about $48,000 in property as a result of some of their arrests from our tips. And we have paid out since January of 2015 about $15,000. So that gives you an idea of the kind of money we've had to pay out the past several years. And we can only do that with the support of the community.
That's right, but it works.
But it works. It really does work.
Yeah.
I mean, crime's a complex problem. Noah appreciates that better than I do. But we're trying to do one little thing, one thing possible to help keep our community safe.
Right.
This is how we do it.
That's exactly right. Well, I know too that some of these that Kip had said were there's not like been 17 different necessarily drug dealers. Sometimes it's the same people and they get the tips and then they're able to get the group of people who are committing the same crimes or having to do with drugs because they're not. Sometimes our community gets concerned, oh, we have so much crime. Well, we do have crime, but it's also the perception of that. And we've talked about that a lot. Like when we have convenience store robberies, sometimes it's the same four people working together doing those robberies.
Burglaries,
it's not, and burglaries or car break-ins. It's the same little group that's kind of working it. So that doesn't make you feel better, but it does make you feel better.
And usually, and Kip can speak to this better than I can, but usually somebody out there knows
That's right.
who's doing this. And it'd be nice if we lived in a world where a person would do the noble thing and come forward without
That's
having
right.
to pay it all. But unfortunately, that's not the
That's
world we
right.
live in. And also, I think it's worth noting that Pitt Greenville Crime Stoppers is one of the oldest chapters in North Carolina and one of the strongest.
That's right.
But we're only strong because of community support.
That's right.
If there have been a number of Crime Stoppers chapters that have either gone bankrupt or just gone out of business or are really not functioning because they don't have the money and they
Right.
don't have a good strong board
Right.
to help keep it afloat. We have both, fortunately.
Which we do. I don't know exactly how many board members we have, but it's over 30, I think.
A lot. We have board members, and we have, of course, of which you're one, and we have law enforcement liaisons. We
That's
have
right.
law enforcement liaisons from several Pitt County law enforcement agencies. Kip is our coordinator, Lieutenant Gaskins. Sheriff Elks is a big supporter of ours,
Right.
as you well know, and so is Chief Holtzman
Right.
and Chief Stanley and Aiden. Chief Stanley comes to a lot of our meetings. Chief
That's right.
Holtzman does not come to the meetings, but he always sends at least one or
Send
two
somebody.
officers.
That's right.
Highway Patrol, Probation Parole also is an active partner of ours. So but it takes community support. And
That's
it's
right.
Pure and simple.
And speaking of community support, that's where I come in.
That's
as
right.
Vice Chair. During the day, I work at Greenville Utilities. Scott Mullis, Assistant Director of Customer Relations. At night, I work at Greenville Utilities. They have me 24 hours a day, but in my spare time, I do try to do some fundraising for Crime
And can I
Stoppers.
say, if you don't like a utility bill, this is the guy to call, is that right?
I do take calls 24 hours a day on that, as a matter of fact.
I have my
but,
phone right here in case of.
That's correct. But so fundraising is a big piece of this. Obviously,
That's right.
without community support, Crime Stoppers would not be as successful as it is. I mean, I was impressed when I was looking at KIP's stats with the
Right.
number of arrests that are attributed to Crime Stoppers. So
That's right.
it's very important.
I think so too. Well, I think one thing that always too, we get reports at our board meetings and so forth, but it always surprises me that we're having to do this and use this program in our school system, which actually may help us as kids to get older, but maybe keep them safer and out of away from crime. But it just surprises me, and usually I think a lot of it is drug related.
It's funny you mentioned that. It reminded me of something. A couple of years ago, we were doing a little fundraiser. I forgot what it was actually, but I know we were selling raffle tickets for something, and I was stationed at Sam's Club with a lieutenant with the ECU Police Department, and neither one of us really pride ourselves on salesmanship. A police officer and a professor, But I said, "Do you know how to sell? Do you know how to sell stuff?" He says, "No." "Do you?" I said, "No." But what we did, we waited for people to come outside of Sam's Club. And the little pitch that he used, it's not a pitch, it was genuine, but the little pitch he used was that we're trying to help keep our schools safe.
Right.
And one way to do that is by taking drugs out of schools. And that appealed to people.
Right.
A lot of people are concerned about drugs in schools and safety in schools, in the community too.
That's right.
So it's not just about the crime on the streets, it's also the crime in the schools.
That's right.
And can't emphasize that enough because KIP works very closely with school resource
That's
officers.
right. That's right. And you're even surprised it goes as low as our middle schools. I haven't heard anything about elementary, but in middle school, definitely. And that just is heartbeaking, actually.
Yeah.
But
But
does
it's the real
happen.
world.
That's right. It is. I don't think people realize it sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that it is. And I know with you, with being on the council, which we appreciate so much your service, you all are constantly getting reports from, our police chief and in different areas about what's going on in Greenville. So I know that you're working hard too with him to try to keep everything safe. So it does take a community.
Sure.
It takes everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can tell you right now, even on the way over here, I got a text message from Chief Holtzman about, another incident that took place. And,
Right.
It's important that we have, the community working together to solve these crimes. I mean, there's so many issues that come up. I was reading an article in the paper, I think it was yesterday. I missed it yesterday, but I read it this morning about some of the crime that's taken place. And, fortunately, we have not had any homicides in the first quarter of this year.
Right.
But, our burglaries, I think, and larcenies, I think, were up from
Right.
last year. And, a lot of times it's the same person. We had that issue that took place over in Lindale and in the Bedford area.
That's right.
Where we had multiple burglaries and it was the same person
Right.
doing it. And they were doing it in Irish Creek and they were going up and down
That's
there.
right.
But, that one individual was responsible for all those issues. And like you said, like you were saying earlier, it's when you get tips, it's however you have to get those tips. You want to get those people off the streets because they're causing chaos. And it takes up a lot of time and a lot of resources for cities like Greenville and the Pitt County Sheriff's Department. So we appreciate everything you guys are doing, and it's I know it's tough. I know I talk to Chief Holtzman sometimes, and he's just. I wonder how he does it sometimes. It's nonstop. Last night I was sitting down. I got another text message about the accident that took place on Greenville Boulevard. So it's nonstop.
Well, we have the easy job. Law enforcement has a tough job.
Yes, they do.
And unfortunately, over the past, I know we don't want to go too far afield here, but over the past several years, I think the job of law enforcement has gotten even tougher.
That's right.
As a result of some things that have happened in other parts of the country. And so they probably need our support more than ever. They always have, but now more than ever.
That's right. Well, I think another real purpose of Crime Stoppers to me I'm one of the few like you all are on the board that don't have anything to do with law enforcement. I feel very safe when I'm in that board meeting because there's a lot of people there. But I think that we are trying, and we're going to get to that in just a minute with you, to get it out even more in the public and make ourselves more known that Crime Stoppers is out there. Please, call us, contact us. Yes, we do, pay out if it's legitimate and if KIP, thinks that that's what we should do. But nonetheless, maybe we can also make everybody more aware of what's going on around you. No matter where you are, it might not be a tip that's big enough that pays out, but it might just be the one that gets that person off the street.
One thing to add to that is that the amount of the tip is based on how much KIP and the officers he
right.
works with thinks the tip is worth.
That's
so
right.
our top payoff now was $2,500.
Right.
That would have to be for a high-profile case
Sure.
for very good information. Typically, tips are quite a bit less than
Right,
that.
that's right. Well, I think even in the murder case in Farmville, if I understood correctly, there was more than one maybe payout. There was a combination
right.
of tips put together that made those arrests possible. And so that's what everybody needs to remember. You may still have that valuable information that don't hold back. And it's anonymous. You want to tell them about that?
Entirely anonymous.
That's right.
The phone number, and I know people probably aren't writing this down, but the phone number is 758-7777. Now that, through some weird configuration for legal purposes, that phone call is routed through Canada and then to a call center in Texas. That way it's not subject to discovery
Right.
by a defense attorney. But yes, it is strictly confidential. The person who calls in the tip receives a number, and then if the tip is deemed worthy of a payout, they go to the bank and collect the money. That's the
Right.
short version.
Right. So people need to realize that if they happen to be watching or just want the information to pass on to somebody else. Well, we're not going to take a break yet. We're going to give you a few minutes to get started on some of the other things that you are helping
Well, we
head.
talked. We talked about tips. So therefore, we need fundraising.
That's
So many opportunities for the public and for businesses, for people, for golfers, for those that don't like to golf to be involved with Crime Stoppers. May 12th, we have a radiothon. We'll go ahead and do a shameless
right.
plug for
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
From 7 to 9 on Henry's show.
That's right.
And so we'll be at Krispy Kreme Donut, and always a good time. And we try to spur donations through the radiothon. It's
That's right.
definitely a good time out there. We have a golf tournament for those that do like to golf. It's May 22nd. It's on a Monday. It's at Brook Valley. And the reason we chose that particular day is because I understand the course is in fantastic shape.
Right.
It follows their members, so the course is in pristine shape. So if you like to golf, it's an opportunity to play a course that maybe you don't get a chance to play that often.
Right.
The costs are minimal. It's $420 for a team. There's mulligan packages, but if you're not a golfer, you can also become a sponsor. For as little as $100, you can sponsor a hole. We take all types of donations. Last year, we set up a GoFundMe site.
Right.
And we'll be reactivating our GoFundMe site for the radiothon, so it makes it simple for anyone to give a donation in any denomination on the GoFundMe page. So all you have to do is go on the GoFundMe site and look up Pitt Greenville Crime Stoppers. You'll get to our site, and again, it's a tax-deductible donation. So many ways for the public to be involved.
That's right. And last year we did well.
We
on
did
the
quite well
radiothon.
with the radiothon.
Like about
so
6,000 maybe
that's
we raised
correct.
in 2 hours. So.
In 2 hours, so
Yeah,
it was
great.
fantastic. Once we had a telethon, the logistics of that became difficult, so we've kind of turned it into a radiothon, and
Right.
and we were appreciative of 103.7 and their support
Exactly.
in that regard, and it's really turned into a positive for Crime Stoppers.
It's how many teams did we have last year? Because there were a lot of participants.
Well, last year we had 18 teams, but
Right.
I'd be remiss. We also have what we call the Crimey Cup. There's
That's
a couple
right.
of events that coincide with the golf tournament where we have law enforcement teams will play each other in a competition.
Right.
Where Greenville Police Department will play the Winterville Police Department. So they have like a little mini tournament before our fundraising tournament.
Right.
So that's always good. But the other highlight event, and I kind of get a chuckle thinking about it because last year we almost had a few accidents, so we got to be careful this year.
We have video footage of that.
Yes,
Yeah.
is our golf cart race between Chief Holtzman and Neil Elks,
Yeah.
and last year we had a couple fill-ins because we had some injuries, and
Sheriff was on IR.
yeah, Sheriff was on IR, so we had we set up a track and we have a golf cart race,
Right.
and again it's just to raise awareness for Crime Stoppers.
Right.
It's a fun time. I think last year, I'm trying to remember who won. My memory
I
slips
don't
me
know.
now.
I just
so-
remember that there was video footage of, I forget which one this was, of the fear on one of them's eyes. Because the camera got, because this thing was deadly serious, and his eyes lit up when he almost wrecked the thing. So.
I think one of the carts got up on two wheels, and we were a little worried about a wreck. And
This is a guy that does high-speed chases, but he's scared on the golf cart.
at any rate, it was a fun time,
Yeah,
and,
it
and,
is.
and May 22nd, mark it on your calendar, please. If you can support in any way, we would appreciate your support. As the statistics show, many crimes are solved as a result of the
That's
tip
right.
line and the money that Crime Stoppers raises.
And we have a Facebook page too, so if they just want to go get information of how to contact us, if they can't find the GoFundMe or something.
That's right. Well, Facebook has the information
That's
about the
right.
golf tournament. We'll be on the radio. We'll be also, and I didn't know if Mark wanted to bring this up about, we'll be involved in festivals this
That's
year.
right. That's something
So-
new that we just
That is
decided.
something new, yeah.
Yeah.
On the Facebook page, I think if you just, I forget the exact handle, Pitt Greenville Crime Stoppers, I think it's, you can find us on Facebook that way. And I think Kip Gaskin's pictures, what you'll see there. Other events coming up this weekend, April 29th, the Farmville Dogwood Festival. And we've added a new twist, not only appearing at festivals, but we've got some T-shirts to sell, and we'll sell them for $10. A $10 donation will get you a T-shirt. See how that goes. And donations also accepted.
That's right.
And if you just have questions about Crime Stoppers, we're going to have board members stationed there, say, throughout the day.
That's right.
Other events, now Scott mentioned the Radiothon on May 12th. I don't know if he said the date or not, but
I
May
did.
12th.
Yes,
On May 20th, the Aden Barbecue Festival.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do that, what we're doing in Farmville, hopefully again in Aden at their barbecue festival, May 20th. Golf tournament May 22nd. I do have the date right, correct? Okay. Other, Scott mentioned our website. The website is www.crimestoppers.org, just that, crimestoppers.org. And you mentioned our Facebook page. Also, we've done something new this year. We have joined the Pitt Greenville Chamber of Commerce.
That's right.
So you can find, if you're a member of the Chamber of Commerce, whether it's a business or individual, you can find some information about us. We're still building that.
That's right.
Jackie's been very helpful. We're still building that, though. And donate or find out more about us on that website.
That's right. Well, we did decide we needed more awareness in the community. And so by lining up with some of the festivals, we got to hit the whole county. Because now we haven't been able to be at every one of them, but we're picking, a good amount of them. One of them we wanted to do at ECU, we weren't really allowed to, but we will be in that area.
Yeah.
So that's okay. But I think it's just a great way to get our name out there. And the T-shirts, I think, are going to look really good, and people will want to wear them. We hope they'll wear them. And
Whit Brown
buy them.
at Action Advertising.
Yes, thank you, Whit.
Yes,
It's been so helpful with that. So we really appreciate that. Let's take a quick break right now, and we'll come back and wrap things up with Scott Mullis, Mark Jones with Crime Stoppers. Welcome back to our discussion today with some of the board members from Crime Stoppers. PJ, this has been a great conversation and a lot of information that the public really does need to know. And I'm really thankful that as the group together has this mission to get back out in the community. It's like he said before, when we had the telethon, that was very easy. A lot of people could watch it, and they were very familiar with what we were doing. And then as that has subsided, not that they don't know about Crime Stoppers, but there was not anything really out in the public like we, are doing now. The golf tournament's good, and I'm hoping that maybe I think last year one of the TV stations did come and do a little bit of interviewing and get that out. But I'm excited about being at the festivals too, because I think that's going to be important to get
Absolutely.
out, with the public and let them know this is what's going on. This is what the community is doing as a community for each other.
Well, I'm excited to get to the festivals too, because I looked down the Aden Barbecue Festival.
Yeah.
That's right up my alley. It's in Aden 1, number 2 barbecue. What couldn't be so good? So
That's exactly right.
But yeah, the community sport's kind of overwhelming sometimes. I have to mention a couple of very special groups that help us out. I mean, we collect donations for the golf tournaments and sponsorship, and Grady White Boat. I mean,
Right.
they just went over and above what should be done, or what what they're doing for us is just amazing. And then Suddenlink also has just been since day one
Right.
has provided ad space, has been able to get our message out. And
That's right.
Has done a great job, been a great community sponsor and corporate sponsor for Crime Stoppers.
And Henry Hinton's been a big,
Oh, absolutely.
Booster of ours.
Absolutely.
over many years, way before mine of your time.
And Billy Parker's been helpful
Yes.
for us.
No doubt.
And
Very
in fact,
much.
Billy Parkers is going to supply the
That's right.
lunches for the golfers at the golf tournament.
Yeah,
So you get Parker's Barbecue and chicken. So
That's
another
exactly
reason to
right.
sign up.
And then you get to walk it off.
That's right. Yeah. So it is a community effort, and we do so appreciate, because you're right. You don't really realize till you start getting in it what's involved to pull these types of festivals or a golf tournament or whatever off. And make it so it's important, but make it effective. And so it's important that the whole community comes in, and we do appreciate it.
One more shout out, 3 more shout outs actually. First off to you, Terry, because you're on the board, you're very active, very involved, and we appreciate your assistance, your help, and your involvement, not only as a board member, but doing what we're doing right now.
Thank you.
Mary Baker works as our secretary,
Yes.
does a very good job. Mary's associated with ECU, as I am. And Bill Hanley
Yes.
has the unsung duty of being the treasurer. And I can tell you that job can be a bit of a headache sometimes. Bill is retired from banking, so he's
That's
expert
right.
at it. He's in landscaping now, so for all your landscaping needs, contact William Hanley. So, but I want to just say a word of thanks to those folks
Yes,
as well.
that's right. That's great. So it just takes everybody. Have you got anything else you want to, maybe you want to repeat the dates on the golf
Yeah,
tournament,
the
the
golf
radiothon?
tournament. The golf tournament's May 22nd. Again, if you need information about the golf tournament, you can call me at 551-3312. I answer that phone 24 hours a day, but please don't call during the night. No, actually, anytime, contact
I
me.
could have said something really good just now. Let's let it go. About midnight tonight.
Please, if you want information about the golf tournament, you can
Right.
contact me. And also the radiothon is May 12th, be a Friday morning at Krispy Kreme.
That's right.
So look forward to the delicious edibles there, and good coffee and good company. Hopefully raise a lot of money for Crime
That's
Stoppers.
right.
And come see us in Farmville this weekend,
right.
April 29th, and again in Ayden, May 20th at the Barbecue Festival.
That's right. Now, at the Radiothon, you can come by. You're
Yes.
welcome to come by
Please
Krispy
do.
Kreme, get you a morning breakfast or snack, and you can bring your checks then. But we also will have people stationed to take the phone calls.
Thanks to
Right.
Leonard Sawyer and Don Young for volunteering for
Right.
that duty, by the way.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for joining the Greenville Grit. You can see us tonight, Wednesday nights 6:30, Friday nights at 6:30, Saturday mornings at 9:30, and we will see you next week. Thanks for joining us.